world's tallest residential apartment building located in New York City's Billionaires Row.
Tallest residential tower in the world.
Celebrating its official topping out at 1,500 feet, making it the tallest building in New York.
You can see how it cantilevers out over another landmark building. The Art Students League immediately next door to it, both giving them air rights.
A lot of people have pointed out that cantilever sticking out of the side of the building, looming ominously over the Art Students League.
Critics also complain the tower casts new shadows deep into Central Park's main recreation areas.
Architects Adrian Smith and Gordon Gill, who designed the structure, said they were thrilled to contribute to New York's skyline.
The final construction costs for Central Park Tower are about $3 billion. To get to this point, the developer Xtel, led by Gary Barnett.
Gary has always been one of the most fascinating people in the industry.
They're a visionary.
And you've been quite creative in the ways you've gotten financing. You've gone from everywhere from EB5 money to Tel Aviv bond money.
He's trying to do it again. He's trying to build another record-breaking tower on Billionaires Row.
Getting everything through the building process, the actual construction, we've been building for 7 years already. And then this particular building is an incredible building.
Welcome to the one above all else, Central Park Tower.
Lifeline, Gary Barnett.
To understand this tower, first understand the man who built it.
So it's tough to develop large buildings in New York City. I do like the design process and the creative process, and that's kind of the only thing I like about it.
Gary Barnett is a diamond trader turned developer. He founded the New York-based Xtel development company back in 1989. Through Xtel, Barnett built some impressive buildings like the W Times Square Hotel, the Orion, and the Lucida. But Barnett did his most promising work when he came to Billionaires Row.
Gary has always been one of the most fascinating people in the industry. He's been around for a long time, but in the last few years, he's become sort of synonymous with Billionaires Row.
In 2014, Barnett made history with 157, the first super tall on 57th Street, Billionaires Row. A luxury condo tower with the most coveted prize in Manhattan, unobstructed Central Park views. But for Barnett, one summit wasn't enough.
He's trying to do it again. He's trying to build another record-breaking tower on Billionaires Row.
And his next tower will be even more audacious than his first one. To get there, he needed more than just ambition. Barnett needed land, and a lot of it.
Land by land, air by air, building a giant.
Barnett spent nearly a decade, from 2005 to 2014, to acquire land and air rights for his dream project. In 2005, Xtel purchased 221 West 57th Street, the Hard Rock Cafe site, and a neighboring lot for about $67.5 million. This secured over 261,000 square feet of development potential across the block along 57th and 58th Streets. This same year, Barnett opened talks with the Art Students League next door to buy unused air rights.
The League is an open community of artists where studio classes taught by autonomous practicing artists enrich the lives of more than 3,000 students each year.
The Art Students League sits just east at 215 West 57th Street. It's an 1892 French Renaissance landmark building.
It's a real hidden gem of the art world, and of course it's famous, it's legendary. We see all of these artists that it's produced that have walked through those walls.
The landmark can be touched, but the sky above it, that can be sold. In 2006, Barnett purchased around 136,000 square feet of the League's air rights for $23.1 million. Extel acquired more assets between 2006 and 2007. In 2006, Extel purchased 1780 Broadway, the B.F. Goodrich building, with the caveat that they would preserve the building facade. Next, they purchased approximately 100,000 square feet of air rights from 205 West 57th. 12,000 square feet from 202 West 58th, and 14,290 square feet from 200 West 58th. By 2013, Barnett had acquired 1.3 million square feet of air rights. What had once been a patchwork of historic buildings was now under Barnett's control. A clear stage for his boldest vision yet. But Barnett ran into a new obstacle. In the late 2000s, he heard terrifying news. Stephen Roth, another New York developer, was about to build a tower on 58th Street, 220 Central Park South. That building threatened to block Central Park Tower's main asset, Central Park Views. A high-stakes standoff ended in October 2013 with Roth settling with Barnett for $194 million.
We are building what will be, yes or no, arguably the best apartment house, the best condo project in New York, arguably.
Arguably.
Don't be jerky. It's not even close, okay?
220 CPS shifted slightly west. Central Park Tower shifted east.
We have moved the building beyond its footprint to give all north-facing condominiums a view of Central Park.
A compromise that would directly contribute to Central Park Tower's iconic design and ensure both towers would get unobstructed Central Park views.
But the views are truly spectacular, and so we brought you up here today to kind of experience them firsthand and pass it on. Here we go.
If you're interested in the whole story, please click here or watch our video on 220 Central Park South. To move his tower to the right, Barnett had to cantilever 28 feet over the Art League.
A lot of people have pointed out that cantilever sticking out of the side of the building, and looming ominously over the Art Students League.
To cantilever to the east, Barnett had to secure more air rights from the Art League for $31.8 million. This acquisition attracted criticism from locals. Community Board 5 opposed the overhang in October 2013. The Landmarks Preservation Commission approved it weeks later, finding minimal impact on the landmark at street level. In February 2014, League members ratified the deal 1,342 to 227. Some League members filed lawsuit against Extel, only to be dismissed. An appeals court affirmed that reversing the transaction would cause undue hardship exceeding $200 million. At this time, nothing stood between Barnett and his ambitious tower, or so he thought.
Complex finances.
Barnett had invested too much money into acquiring air rights. He needed funding.
So what has he done already at Central Park Tower?
So he bought the land with a loan from Blackstone, and then he put in a lot of equity himself. He was, very clever and signed on a deal with Nordstrom.
It started with Nordstrom, the retail anchor. In mid-2012, Nordstrom committed to occupying the retail base of the tower. The store paid $102.5 million as a down payment for the first 5 floors and 2 basement levels. In total, its contribution amounted to around $400 to $426 million. This deal gave Barnett credibility and leverage. And from 2016 onwards, Barnett started financing for the tower. In 2016, Barnett secured $300 million equity from Shanghai Municipal Investment Group, SMI.
More recently, he made a deal with a huge Shanghai conglomerate called SMI, and they contributed about $300 million in equity towards the project.
he raised another $300 million via bonds on the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange. Barnett also utilized EB-5 visa funding. Through EB-5 visa funding, he secured around $168 million. In 2018, Barnett signed a $900 million construction loan with JP Morgan Chase, the largest in New York at the time. The terms of his loan were brutal. JP Morgan required Extel to sell $500 million worth of condos by December 2020 or risk default. But that wasn't enough to keep the Central Park Tower project afloat, so Barnett layered on more financing. Unfortunately, Barnett had maxed out on his traditional bank loans. So in 2018, he first acquired $235 million in preferred equity at 11% interest from a hedge fund. Then he turned to mezzanine financing. He secured a $380 million mezzanine loan in 2021 from Sail Harbor Capital and Baupost Group. Think of the capital stack like a skyscraper. Senior debt at the bottom, equity at the top. Mezzanine sits in the middle, filling the gap. It's costlier than a bank loan and riskier, and if things go wrong, the mezzanine lender repossesses the building. So this wasn't just more debt. Barnett put the tower on the line, but even that wasn't enough. In 2023, Barnett secured two more massive $500 million loans. The March loan was another mezzanine loan from JP Morgan Chase, using 87 unsold units as collateral to provide immediate cash flow relief. The July loan was a structured refinancing, likely improving terms or consolidating debt with a new financing partner, Reuben Brothers alongside JP Morgan. In 2025, Barnett acquired another $270 million bond sale in Tel Aviv, using unsold 18 units as collateral. All in, Extel layered roughly $3 billion of debt on Central Park Tower. Each deal bought time, but every dollar raised added more pressure. And as the dollar stacked higher, so did the opposition.
Battles over Central Park View.
The Art Students League lawsuit wasn't the only legal battle Barnett had to win. Complaints and legal filings flew in from multiple directions to plague the project. Neighbors alleged construction damage and safety lapses, and indeed, there were incidents. Falling debris, hazardous work conditions, and stop work orders that slowed the process. Then there was the shadows over Central Park controversy.
Critics also complain the tower casts new shadows deep into Central Park's main recreation areas.
In November 2015, activists marched along 57th Street under the banner "Stand Against the Shadows." They warned that ultra-slender towers would cast long afternoon shadows over southern Central Park. Protesters called for height caps and new zoning tools to manage as-of-right towers and air rights transfers. The city planning leaders weren't convinced, but construction continued behind the site fences. It had to continue. Barnett felt that his tower was proof that New York was still the capital of global wealth. He had the funding, he had overcome obstacles, and now he had to build. By the end of 2012, Barnett had filed construction permits with the New York City Department of Buildings. He had brought in Adrian Smith and Gordon Gill to design this massive tower.
How often does someone come in and just say, "Can you build me the world's tallest building?"
I think we've had that about 8 or 9 times.
Smith designed Dubai's Burj Khalifa. At more than 2,700 feet, it is the tallest building in the world.
The demolition of the existing buildings began in 2011, and the plot was entirely ready by the end of 2013. Excavation for the foundations began in 2014 and nearly lasted for an entire year. The building's concrete foundation was poured in February 2015. By 2017, the tower was already taking shape, built floor by floor using a reinforced concrete core that climbed steadily upward. They were building the tower's signature, the cantilever. Starting around the 20th floor, the tower literally shifts eastward, extending over the landmarked Art Students League. This gives residents unobstructed Central Park views. By 2019, the structure topped out at 1,550 feet.
Central Park Tower is celebrating its official topping out at 1,500 feet, making it the tallest building in New York.
A vertical city in its own right, dwarfing nearly every neighbor in Manhattan. And what a building it was.
Tallest home in the world, a vertical kingdom.
Barnett's Central Park Tower became the tallest residential tower in the world. It has a height-to-width ratio of 10:1.
The taller you get, and the more complicated you get, the more complex. You start doing, glass walls instead of brick walls, and the structure becomes much more complicated. The elevators become much more complicated. The wind stresses become, much more complex.
So thin it needs a giant-tuned mass damper, outrigger floors, and a stiff concrete core to tame the wind.
Right behind me is the tuned mass damper. Weighs around 1,200 tons. It is the biggest and the heaviest damper in the world.
Barnett employed Rawted Studio for the interiors. The studio ensured each unit is designed as mansions in the sky. Each unit has 14-foot ceilings, custom finishes, and walls of glass overlooking Manhattan. The tower has 136 floors with 179 residences, and its highest occupied floor reaches a whopping 1,417 feet.
This is the highest residential home on the planet. And this is all on the market now for $250 million. Let me show you around.
The tower features approximately 50,000 square feet of amenities. The Central Park Club, exclusive to residents, spans the 14th to 16th floors.
Central Park Tower has some of the greatest amenities. There's a private restaurant, cigar room, there's 2 swimming pools, indoor, outdoor, a full-on spa, fitness center, a movie theater.
Central Park Tower is a statement of ambition, engineering, and luxury, rising above the city like no other residential skyscraper before it. But are the residences homes or just investments? Critics call it a ghost tower because half of the units sit empty. Is it worth it to pursue this relentless dream if no one actually lives in it? Barnett doesn't seem to mind. His magnus opus is now one of the brightest stars on the Manhattan skyline.
As we got larger footprint, larger air rights, it turned into what's now the tallest residential building in the world.
When you look at the history and legacy of great buildings in New York, and you look at the skyline of New York, for us to be able to participate in that and kind of etch our role in the history of that architectural legacy is fantastic.
Love it or question it, Central Park Tower is Barnett's legacy. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below.